What do you mean we all have the same daddy? I don't know your
Get
daddy.
it. A little short shoulder coming at
That's right, sister. Yes. Yes.
Truth be told, I'm trying to get on here, and the good news is that the 5 authors that was a part of this dynamic, let me just say, dynamic project, know that. And because we know that, we can share that. And this book entails our testimony. I have to lower Mary J. Blige because she get me to move and she get me to move.
Yeah, she get you a little moving. Yeah.
She get me to move and she get me to
It's all right, sister. It's all right.
It's all right. I can get my little shoulder thing going because I am truly excited about the opportunity that, first of all, for us sisters to come together. And I need to say that your spirits, Lena and Lisa, was so amazing for the project. I want to humbly say thank you for being so giving and so willing of your testimony that takes vulnerability and transparency. And in this book, you gave of yourself. So I'm going to get really, really quick. And I'm going to start with you, Miss Lena, because that is the order of it. So I see. So it gives you a chance to take a breath, Miss Lisa.
Yes.
And the title of your portion, a title of your vulnerability, the title of your story, a title of your spirit was Sisterhood Found in Serenity. Can you tell us a little bit, and those us who are on live right now and the rewatchers, those that are watching the replay, what did that title, what was that for you? Where did that come from?
Well, actually, the title for me came from two places where I was dealing with learning how to find peace within the circumstances that I was in, as far as understanding womanhood, sisterhood, who I was as a mother, who I was as a woman. And it also ended up becoming my first daughter's name within the foundation of developing who I was, not only spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything. So it was impactful for me when writing this out to pay homage to where it all came from, where I found, peace, where I found serenity. And I also, during that time, adopt that name to her because I was pregnant at the time.
Wow. So it was more than just a title for you, it was an experience.
Yes.
It was an experience.
Absolutely.
When I saw that title, it rang true for me because oftentimes while we don't see, not that it's not here and not that it's not there, but oftentimes while we don't connect sisterhood and serenity together is because most of us don't have that serenity.
Right.
I can't offer anybody anything that I don't have.
Right.
And I can't partake in. So that spoke volumes to me. Sister Lisa, what was it about your title? And as we said before, I told on you, not my sister's keeper, but my sister's keeper.
Yeah.
Where did that birth for you?
Well, it actually came from me believing in women being more than just a sister, a girlfriend. They are really stars to me. Wow. And I had to shine first before I could see someone else's light.
Wow.
And when I was actually able to do that, that's when I realized that they are my shining light also.
Wow.
And they continue to guide me. So I believe my sisters are my path.
That just look, if you can see hairs on Facebook, you just make because what you said was resonated with my spirit, obviously. Look, my hairs are like, get off of me. You said you first had to identify with the light within yourself.
Right.
Before you can acknowledge, appreciate, and help illuminate the light of someone else.
And it was hard work. It was hard work.
Say that one more time.
It was hard work. It was hard work.
It is. She's right.
It really was.
Do you agree with that, Lena? What makes you come into agreement with that statement?
Because a lot of the times ego steps in and we don't want to acknowledge and take accountability for the role we play in things. So sometimes having to get that look in the mirror and realizing, hey, you can't keep on waiting for everybody else's reflection to point at you and say, it's okay.
Oops.
It's not you. You got to really dive in and point at yourself and be okay with that, your truth, and say, I got to work on me. This is a me thing. I'm not looking at nobody else right now. This is me in front of me.
Yes.
So basically what I'm hearing you ladies say, you can't be a sister to somebody else. You can't walk in the power and the truth of knowing that we all have the same daddy to a place where you're willing to walk in your own truth and light. But before you walk in it, you have to understand that there is some there. And it's hard work getting there. Is that so?
Oh, yes.
What was hard about it for you, Lisa? What did you find challenging, if you don't mind sharing?
Confronting things that I wasn't woman enough to say. You gotta come straight with it. You got it head on, and I wasn't woman enough to do that.
Come on here, the transparency on this page.
Okay, yeah, that's hard.
And I was woman enough and strong enough, because I don't think that I was woman enough because I wasn't strong enough. So when I became strong in myself, that's when I started. It was I felt like I was going through a program within myself first.
Wow.
And then I started to recognize women around me was just different. And the one I wanted to bash, it wasn't.
So oftentimes, so what I'm hearing is, when I come from my sister's neck, look, I'm translating all this with my coach said. So when I come from my sister's neck, it's because I'm truly not willing to do the work that I need to do introspectively.
Right.
And when I come from my sister, I'm inadvertently coming for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Ooh,
Hit the nail. Hit the nail. Yes.
Come on. That is so good. So we could drop the mic and hang this up right now.
Yeah.
Because that was, some sisters pull their red bottoms back and stick them under the chair after hearing this.
Yes.
Because we're not so honest with that. But once we're honest with that, we're able to embrace a project like this. And it's a small baby, right? It's all a learning process for us, but it's power packed.
Yes.
So power packed.
Yes.
Lena, there's something that stood out for me. First of all, I was overwhelmed. And I said, as someone, this is my first anthology, let me say. And so I had to be responsible for where what should go. And what was so amazing that all 5 of the women had something that satisfied what the previous sister said. So that's amazing.
That's what I thought.
I read yours. I said, oh no, this has to be the finale. It has to be the finale. And this is what blessed me. You said on page 98, I grew up around a lot of women. There's nothing magnificent about that. But I was raised by a lot of damaged little girls.
Mm-hmm.
That thing right there, that thing right there that hit me in my gut. Why were you aware of that? What made you aware of that?
What I saw in the women that I was raised by, and I only realized that within myself, was when they say hurt people, that's a real thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So witnessing, my mom and her sisters and how they behave together, it was like little girls, and that's not a problem. Mm-hmm. But when bad behaviors aren't being recognized, or there is a problem when speaking of bad behaviors with one another as sisters, and this is blood we're talking about, then how have you accomplished being a grown woman? The age is there, but you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror, like I said, and be accountable for your wrongdoing. Saying sorry sometimes was an issue. Just letting another person know you shouldn't have done it that way, that was an issue. So I saw the little girl, I have 4 daughters and a son, so I can see that in them as a mother, where it's hard. You ever tell a child, say sorry, and they start crying? Mm-hmm. The hardest thing to do, and you got to know, where did that come from? Why is it so hard for you to do that? And so I witnessed that in these women who were raising me, that it seemed like there was a challenge in being accountable. There was a challenge in owning up to things. So while raising me, I felt like I was being raised by some hurt little girls that weren't able to get that out, get all that pain off of them.
Wow, I find that to be so empowering and powerful, because the truth is, I don't want to apologize if, first of all, I have to think I'm right. So wait a minute. Sorry, I'm not. No, you hit me first. You hit me first. So I have to take the stance of, there's importance in being right as opposed to being healed.
Right.
There is a difference. Lisa, something about, first of all, let's just say this is my sister from another mother. Grew up together in the same town. We went to the same high school. We dropped book bags together. We picked up book bags together. We did a whole lot of stuff together. So we are knitting fine. And what blessed me about your story was that I didn't know all of it. As close as we were, wasn't close enough to know the extent of some of your suffering, which shows that sisters can walk alongside one another and still suffer in silence.
Yes.
In silence, exactly, and that's just what I did.
Your story made me weep for many reasons, but I think the part of it that made me weep was to see the end result of who you are and where you've been. So it just blessed me overwhelmingly. But one of the things that stood out on page 77, you talked about your transparency, your transformation. And in quotes, it says, I was either not willing or wasn't equipped to realize that I was damaged.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Explain to us. You said it was a slow transformation. Is there anything?
It was a slow transformation because I was so willing not to admit, like I said, I looked in the mirror and that couldn't be me. I refused for that to be me because I wasn't woman enough to look in the mirror. This is who you are. You don't like who you are. But when I looked in the mirror, I found nothing was wrong with me and everything wrong with someone else. But I had to face the fact that it was something wrong here. Your actions prove that there is something wrong here.
Wait, say that one more again. Say that. I need you to say that.
Actions.
Yeah. Your actions.
Yes. So how can you look in the mirror and say, it's not me? When you're living proof, something is clearly wrong. You know? You can find fault in all your sisters and dog them and whisper around to anybody who would listen to make yourself feel better as a woman.
Come on here.
And this is really what I thought was good for me to make me feel better as a woman. And I did. And once I was able to confront my fears, be transparent with myself, I broke down in front of a mirror. Once it hit me and all the ugliness came out of me in that moment in front of my mirror, that's when I realized, no, there is something wrong. And this is not who you're supposed to be. And I had to do something about it. And even to this day, I tear up now to this day. That's
okay. Your transparency is going to bless somebody else because, again, we rolled alongside one another. Like we went to school together. We shared money so that either one of us could eat. We slept in the same house. You know, we went through so much together, but there was still something screaming on the inside of you and me. I couldn't hear your cry and you couldn't hear my cry because we weren't equipped to know that it was okay to cry. Come on.
Exactly. Crying was not permitted.
You didn't have time to cry. You had to fight.
You had to survive.
You had to survive. You had to wipe your hands to see you're going to run. That's right. You had to survive. Crying wasn't permitted. You didn't. Oh God. Lena, can you identify with that? What part of that do you identify as far as the transformation, the slow process, or was it a slow transformation for you?
For me, I was more afraid of continuing bad patterns. That scared me. Like I used to, you get to a certain age and you see things and you're like, I don't want to be like that. I was scared of certain things I saw, and I said, I didn't want to, the things I was feeling about people around me, about women around me, I didn't want to feel that way. I didn't want anyone to feel that way about me. And so you know how sometimes you're running trying to avoid being like somebody or something, and you smack right in the in the face with confronting yourself because you become that one thing. You know,
Right.
like I'll admit it. Like it's funny. You know, my brother, he used to say, he said, "You acting like mom," and this was when I would have been getting mad, and I'd be like, "Oh, you just cursed me out." You know, so
you
and
call
then,
me a bad five-letter word, not a one-letter word, but a five-letter word.
right? So it was like I had to identify with what about that was so frustrating, and if that's his truth, I can't deny that. Then I have to channel myself back and say, hey, maybe I did do that, and what about her that I didn't like, that I don't want it to show up, and is it okay? Is it not okay? So a lot of internal questions, a lot of reflecting on who I wanted to be in the world. The parts, understanding the parts of family members, my mother that I loved and would be okay with, because I don't want to take the bad off of anybody from anyone. I want to absorb the good, and there is good within everyone, but I had to really like hone in on that part and be aware of that if it showed up. Is it okay for that? Now I got a little bit of it in me when it comes to that, and I can respect it. But some of the things I didn't want. And that's okay.
Right.
I love the fact that you were aware. You both became to a place where you were aware that something needed to be done and was willing to do the work. Did you know that it was going to take work? And I'll go to you, Lisa. Did you know it was going to take work? And what made you so willing to do the work when you became aware that it was going to take work?
Okay. I did not know it was going to take as much work.
Oh.
But as day by day went on, I started to peel back so many layers that I didn't even realize that I had. And where I began was forgiving myself first. Yeah, I forgave myself first for a lot of downfalls that I did. I forgave myself for not being true to myself, loving myself enough. And then I started to forgive those around me who did things to me to purposely hurt me or wasn't even conscious that they were doing it.
Wow. And
once I began to do that, that's when a burden was lifted. I felt a lot lighter. I was able to actually greet people with, hi, how are you? And actually meant it instead of,
right. Wait, say that again.
Yeah. Instead of to me so politically, I have to say it back to you.
Right.
So once I was able to really mean it, then I started to like me. So when I started to like me, and I said, okay, I'm feeling better. And then things just started to come natural. I started to see a difference in me. And I enjoy being around me. How can you not enjoy being around you?
Yes, right.
Okay.
How you
I didn't even realize that I didn't even like being around me.
Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Carol. How your sisters? Thank you for joining us. Invite a friend. We're talking about some sisterhood, and we are talking about we all have the same daddy sisters for real, right? Yes, and these other co-authors, Lena Anderson and Lisa Davis. And so we're so excited, and the conversation is good. And if you miss something, you have to go to the replay. Miss Lena, when you talked about, you spoke about something in your portion that blessed me as well. And I'm huge on self-reflection. And one of the reasons why I'm huge on self-reflection, because I was around women who didn't seem to have a mirror. So I needed to have one. And truthfully, speaking to the truth of the very thing that I hope, and you spoke this, Lena, the very person that I hope not to be, I became. But for me, my motivation to be a better sister, my motivation to show up better in the world. Yes, it's the book you won, Tiffany. The motivation for me to show up in the world as a better sister was my 4 sons. Ironically, they were males that want to be better. But you said, and I love the verbiage, Lena, on 98. So my biggest conundrums regarding sisterhood and womanhood not only looked suspicious to me, it felt unstable. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, you know, like you know how much your children absorb. They're like sponges, right? So I would, when watching, aunts and my mother interact, it was kind of weird. Like, it's that whole, that family impact where it's, what goes on in this house stays in this house, or I could do it to you, but nobody else outside this house can. Those types of things that we put on family, that pressure we put on, I was really like suspicious. Like, should I get close to another woman? Should I get close to my sisters if this is where the mindset is?
Right.
Where's the stability in sisterhood if you can treat me badly and I can't even talk to anybody about it? Where's the stability in a sisterhood that says that, if you do something, it's okay, I still love you anyway, but don't do it to me. You could do it to her down the block. I can't build a relationship with other women based on those, those beliefs. So I really, really had to step outside of what I knew and was familiar with and challenge myself to explore sisterhood in a different way. That came through, again, reflecting. That came through, like you might have cousins that you talk about stuff where you're like, this something ain't right here, or you joke about certain things, so it opens you up more to having those conversations and realizing, okay, this isn't right. I don't want to be this way. And if I have to change within me first in order to build that in somebody else and to see that in somebody else, because I don't know what sister girl down the street who's rolling her eyes at me when I walk past her has been dealing with. If she was raised with somebody who is doing the same thing, then she might be a little uneasy and be suspicious as well as to why I'm sitting there smiling at her, telling her she looked cute and to work her outfit. So I can that, but you can't let those things change you if you're going to be the sister that you say you want to be for someone else.
Because it's so amazing that you say that, because there was a time when I would walk down the block, and I don't care if y'all was having a family picnic before you even knew that this little black child was coming around the block. And I grew up at the time with being doubly kissed by the sun wasn't a pleasure. So any form of laughter was about me. You could not have possibly just told the joke before I got on the street. You had to be laughing about me. So the requirement on me to be the very thing that I say that I wanted in return, I had to almost initiate the sisterhood process.
Right. Yes.
But I'm hearing you two ladies saying, Lisa, for the sake of time, I'm going to come to you now and actually on page 81, you talked about your strong, disciplined household and how the pressure of not making the mistakes your siblings made you feel. You was ensured to not do the very same thing and make somebody else feel the way your siblings made you feel, which ultimately affected how you looked at sisterhood. Can you describe the feeling that you work so vehemently to avoid creating in somebody else's life?
Yes, judged. I refuse to judge anyone again, just on the fact of just looking at them.
Wow.
Oh, well, she must be doing this because she looks like those other people that do that.
Wow.
I couldn't do that anymore. And to this day, I see women still doing that. And now my children tell me, look, you have to mind your business. Because I don't go up to, no, sweetheart, you can't do that because we don't know what she went through to get to this point right before this moment right here.
That's right.
I have a short story. My daughter and I went in a nail salon. It was a young girl in there that went off on the nail technician. And my daughter said, oh my gosh. I was like, whoa. I said, not on my watch. I said, we don't know. She had a story before she walked through this door that took her there.
Come on,
just because a lady might have hurt her toe, it brought it out. We don't know. So we're not going to say, oh my gosh, look at her. What is she doing? Now, and my daughter looked at me. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
She was like, okay. And I was like, yes. And I said, that's what I'm trying to teach you. Because I was once that, oh my gosh, look at her.
Come on here.
To be that.
Come on here. Come on here. That is so. So you saying to be a good sister, we all have the same daddy. It's acknowledging that even if you don't know the whole story,
Yes.
even if you don't know what somebody is going through, but how I am a sister is by not judging you and maybe covering you in prayer, possibly. Acting outside of yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
That is amazing to me. That feeds my soul. Lena, do you have anything to support that even though that wasn't, I'm sure you read it?
Yes, I did.
How does that resonate into you? I mean, you shared a little bit already, but
I would be honest, I would, because I grew up around women who did do that, judged and made assumptions about me, made assumptions about each other and other women. So when I growing up, hanging out with some friends and stuff, I would be that girl who would sometimes say, "Oh, what she got on?" "Ooh, that's not for church. I know that ain't for church." And I was that girl. So I'm not, I had to dial back, because I'll never forget when I was pregnant with my son and I got on a bus. And granted, we all, because children can be so cruel sometimes, we get judged. I was bullied and all of that. But I'll never forget, I had my son, and I had him at 18, and I got on the bus, and I have a baby face. So this one woman, she got on the bus, and she looked me up and down, an older woman, and she said, "Look at you, so young and having a baby at such a young age." She said, "You must have been out there whoring."
Wow. Yes. Yes.
I was so hurt by that.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't even hold in my tears, right?
Oh, I'm about to cry now.
I know, I'm feeling it.
I'm about to cry now. I feel that.
And
those are the judgments I'm talking about. Yes.
And I got to the back of the bus, and I just sat there, and I was playing with my son. I'll never forget. I'm hurt, but
it's okay. Go and be free.
Yeah. And
yeah.
She didn't know me. She didn't know, and in my head, ego shows up, and in my head, I'm like, I should have told her off. I said, I'm 18 going on 19. There's girls who have babies. In your head, you doing all of this. But my heart was hurt, because I'm like, this is an older woman who, instead of looking at me, who is, yes, not only do I have my son, I got the baby bag, I'm taking care of him and doing the right thing by him. You threw the nastiest thing at me.
Yeah.
So that hurt. That hurt a lot. Oh, we only got 10 minutes.
That's okay. I have one more question for each of you, and then we going out, and I so enjoyed this. We have to do this again.
Yeah, we're going to have more conversations.
We have to do this again, because I'm so blessed by your transparency. I'm so blessed by your vulnerability, and whoever watches this replay is going to be as blessed as it is too. And I'm going to ask this last question of both of you, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to start with you, Lisa. What did writing a portion of this book do for you as a woman, and how did it influence the remainder, how further you operate in sisterhood?
Well, it made me be absolute transparent with myself, which I fell in love with.
Wow.
It made me appreciate the stories in this book. I cried reading this book, and I told you that when I got my shipment, I opened it up and I just read it, and I cried. And I realized, I knew that I wasn't alone in having a story, but because it was so close to me now, it was like somebody was right alongside me that has gone through something that needs to tell their story, that wasn't ashamed to tell their story anymore, that wanted to help somebody else. And I look forward to going and helping other younger girls who was in a situation that I was in, which I have come across after sharing this book with so many, that there are many who are ashamed and just didn't want to speak about anything. And then they throw some things at me that I appreciate them for.
So a yes to this little baby right here, this little thin little baby right here, influenced you to move further in purpose, and realize your purpose is even greater than you thought it was. So your the title is bigger than the title, because we do all have the same daddy, and don't you make me cry? And,
sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I've come across so many good people because of this book right here.
Don't make me cry. Oh my God. I'm not bad for the crying. Oh my gosh. Help me, Jesus. Because we realize that the deficiency is huge. And so your yes blessed me because it let me know that I was on the right journey. And so your yes encouraged me as my yes encourages you. And so it's no coincidence that we're on the platform of Women Win Together, talking about we are all sisters and we all have the same daddy. So Lena, I asked you the same question. What did writing this book do for you, and how did it at all change anything for you as far as how you embrace sisterhood?
Absolutely. What it did for me, it was therapeutic. Writing it out, I had to relive all of those emotions all over again. I had to relive, and literally was watching the little girl do the things, and watching my mom, and watching the experiences I've had play out while I was writing it out. It was extremely therapeutic for me and freeing, because so many times we hide behind our stories. We don't want to share. We are afraid of what's going to happen if we tell the truth. And our truth.
Right.
Our truth.
Right. And so for me, it's more reflection, definitely about, like she said, non-judgments about people, improving the sisterhood relationship as a whole and personally with other women, recognizing and speaking those women up who show me what sisterhood is. I can't do that enough, because I didn't have that necessarily with family, but to find that in women that aren't family, that when you're told that that's where you're supposed to get it from, that is a blessing. That is a huge blessing, because I mean, it's my first interaction with some women, and it was, when it's great, it's like, oh snap, where were you? I didn't know this existed. So it's really touching. You know, it brings back the humanity and the love we're supposed to have for one another.
Yes. And I only had one sister. I'm sorry, Lisa. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were saying something?
No, I was just agreeing. I was agreeing.
It's so, my sisters, I had just one sister, and she was the baby sister. And if you were an older sibling, you know sometimes how the baby sister, as long as she had my mother, she was fine. So Lisa was my sister, and Natalie was my sister, and Yvette was my sister, and Dee Dee were my sister. Yes. And so what happened when life happened and we all separated, I couldn't maintain many sisterhoods because I was used to that unfiltered, raw, unconditional, ride or die, back to back, toes to toe sisterhood. And that wasn't so common. And so the Lord challenged me to be who I said I needed and I missed. Because we were separated. Facebook wasn't around. It was MySpace, but we didn't get in touch with each other till a few years. I was like, oh Lord, thank you. That's still around. And then here comes Lena, with, all your gifts and all your willingness to see sisters win for real. And it blessed my soul. If you have gotten a copy of We All Have the Same Daddy, Sisters for Real, I don't share it because, it is not on Amazon as of yet because there's been opposition. And how many know that opposition comes when you're going in the right direction?
That's right.
But you can ring any of these women inbox, whoever resonated with you the most, and grab a copy of this book and be blessed and recognize our level of responsibility and accountability for being that sister who helps create the sisterhood that our Heavenly Father intended for us to have. And I'm so humbled that we did this, and I'm more that we did it together. I thank you so very much. And we're going to come back and have more conversation about this.
We are.
Why? Because we are.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Yes, women.
I appreciate my sisters.
So when we see another sister, we go, you fine, I'm fine, we're fine.
That's right, all together.
Yes. You want to do it? I love it. Come on, Lisa, shake that.
Got your shoulders.
What? You gotta move the shoulder. Wait. That's but it's exciting. And if you haven't, thank you for the love, Tiffany. We love you. We love you too, Tiffany.
Thank you, Tiffany.
We love you guys.
Thank you, ladies and everyone.
If you haven't had the opportunity to watch it from the beginning, go back, because we want to tell you just how fine you are.
Yes.
Sisters for real. Lena, you need to move that shoulder, sister.
Okay, yes, I know. I get it. A little short shoulder coming out.
That's right, sister. Yes. Yes.
I love you guys. Until next time.
I love you.
Bye.
Wonderful weekend to you both and everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.